How do you measure time? Before I knew it, I'm down to the last 2 weeks in Cody, a town that I had been living in only 4 years, but had grown absolutely to love it. I loved my place in the community. I loved the outdoors. I had become a fly fisherwoman. I loved to hike and to just take pictures. I wasn't very good at photography, but you know, every once in a while I wanted to capture something that I had seen. Otherwise, all the memories are just imprinted in my mind and on my heart. But I'm down to the last 2 weeks before I have to go, and just my heart is like being torn apart, and it's not reasonable. There's no logic behind it. 3 weeks prior, I had met a delightful man who's a guide in the community and well respected, certainly an activist within the community, within the Forest Service, within Yellowstone, and just, you know, we're connected. We're inextricably connected by the heart, with our intuitive abilities. We telepathically communicate with each other, and I've teleported to him. Stuff just within a brief amount of time, something unlocked within me in relationship and in regards to this really delightful man. And he was having the same kind of feelings, but not, you know, from the same place that I was, with an emerging in abilities that are unseen and unknown. And so, you know, I'm down to the time when looking back time-wise, 4 years in a place to come up to this place of leaving just went by in a blur. And so my mind is filled with thoughts of all that I've done, all that I have accomplished, and I'm very proud of the person that I'd become. I was raised in a house of 7 men, and I would just say I was not a brave person. I was, in fact, I was a very suppressed person, and this 4 years during this time, I got to witness, as I look back on it, the emergence of the real me. And I just, you know, when I think of it now, it's like, my gosh, now I know why I came here. So as the time is unfolding and I'm getting, you know, it's getting closer, the time more imminent, I had arranged, actually my dad arranged for the Cavalry to come. I had 3 brothers that were coming with him, and they were coming in a week to, you know, pack up, help clean, load up, and get on the road the next day and head to Oregon. My belongings were going to Oregon, but the rest of them were going back to Washington. So I had a brother who was going to meet them in Spokane and drive the truck down with the possessions in them. And my dad came with the boys, and then he was driving back with me to Oregon, which was my transitional place. And there's all these stories behind me leading up to all of this. My heart felt like it was being torn apart, ripped, like I was being ripped from something. You know, the fabric was unraveling, and it was just something that was emerging, was just so beautiful. And so the boys came, all the boys and Dad, and everything had been done. The truck was loaded and ready to go. They were going to stay with my friend Bob that I had these feelings about. And so he would feed and lodge them while they were here. And so we decided that the first night that we would take him out to dinner and take the boys out for a Western, little Western flair. So we went to a cowboy bar, a well-known place in Cody that had cowboy dancing and the line dancing and inexpensive drinks and pretty good food. And so we had a great time. The next day, we all got to we took them on tours around the area so that they could see the spectacular mountains that just rise straight up to the sky. It is just stunning, stunning country. And, followed up the river, and the aspens were golden, and everything was just beautiful. They got to see herds of elk that had come down out of the mountains and were in the valleys, and bighorn sheep who were in the rut and butting heads, and you could hear that resonating clunking, off of the sides of the mountains. And they just had a really nice time. And the next morning they hit the road, and a day early, and off they went. And then Dad and I stayed an extra day, and we took Bob out to dinner that night, Saturday night, and must have been Sunday, and whatever day it was. And we just had a great time, and Dad and Bob had so much to talk about, so many things in common. Dad was in the service and flew planes, was a private pilot and a commercial pilot. And Bob had flown during, I think it was early years of Vietnam, as a helicopter pilot, and was a horse ranger the first horse ranger in Yellowstone Park. So all those stories have been told. You can go back and pick some things up. And so they just had a great time. We enjoyed each other's company, and it was a pretty decent farewell, dinner and evening. And the next morning, Dad and I took off, and I just hugged Bob, holding back my that longing to stay and knowing you have to go. There's something's bursting inside of you, but we hugged. I drove so that we get up to Interstate 90, and from there, Dad could drive us to Spokane, and then we'd take turns. And so the next day off we went, and all along the way, Dad wanted to know, what were you doing there? What did you learn? And you can't, when you're talking metaphysics, which is to me, it's mostly unseen. I followed a list of instructions, some guidance, and that's how I ended up in Cody. And I had a metaphysic, very deeply spiritual experience the last month or so before I left Cody, and and I knew when that happened that I had accomplished what I came here to do. It was time to go. I didn't know where I was headed. I did know where I was headed next, but I did not know what was next on my soul's journey and that unfolding that's taking place. So this is really the closure. I'm giving you the closure of Cody, and I'm moving into now the next 10 years or so of my life, and all the different things that take place now that certain spiritual attributes have been instilled in me. So that's really where I'm going to leave you today. We'll have another video. I'm gonna post on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm going to try to have on Tuesday or Thursday, I'm not sure which, and if you have a preference, let me know. I'm going to have at least one live event once a month. And if I don't do live, I'm going to do where I can do Q&A and all of that sort of thing. I've got some other things that I want to post. I'm also starting another channel that's called Ask Claudia. In other words, what would she do? How would she handle this? Well, if I ask her, now remember, you're going to get a body, mind, spirit answer from me. So, because I've learned a few things in my 73 years of living. So So anyhow, you know that I love you. I love you so much. I love you this much. These arms go all the way around you in an energetic hug. Please like, subscribe, share. The more you do those kinds of things and comment, then the more information about going from clueless to awareness that we're having these great experiences and experiencing the nudges of our Creator get shared and go out there. And until I see you again, I want you to be well, stay safe, love yourself, be good stewards of each other on this planet, and be good stewards of the earth. And until I see you again, know that you're way more than you think you are, and I love you very much.